I have a question. You said that
Like our
via online, via computer technologies, via.
yeah, yes. They're all yeah, the courses, if I'm get this correctly, the courses are all they're all online. They're all sort of more or less, IT effective. We can always improve them, but they were developed. Yes, I mean they were there by computer technologists. I think the agreement. Well, we have an MOU or we have an arrangement. I don't. It depends whether it's signed or not at this moment. I'm not sure. We have an arrangement with different universities so that these are tuition free. Trent manages it because we have an international programs which I think most institutions do. And through international programs, there's an MOU. They see you Arctic as an international university, so that the components, even if they're in Canada, are treated as if students were on an international exchange. They pay the tuition at their home university. They go on this virtual exchange. So that works well, except if if you're from an institution that doesn't has a different accreditation system. If all your courses you want, 12-month or 8-month courses, ours are 3.5. They might not work in your time frame. Those are the kinds of problems that we have. And then privacy and the transfer of transcripts. We're trying to do all that online now, and those are the sorts of things that are challenging. But we have not been open to as we have could be to engaging other institutions to teach in this, and that's what we're really trying to work on now. Yeah, long-winded answer, probably not to the question you asked, but for what I forgot to say.
Нет, очень интересно. Спасибо большое.
This is very interesting. Thank you.
I might add.
We'll visit.
Sorry?
Обязательно посетим.
Would like to.
Oh, we have a Lara site, don't we? I'm sorry, we have a Lara website now that's going up, and that would be a good website for everyone to visit as well. We've put some work thinking about how to do that representation, and how I think it's quite I wonder if we could call it up, Irina, at some point on the screen.
Yes, we can put the name of the website in the chat box. I will do that.
Okay, thank you.
So do we have any more questions? Будут ли еще вопросы?
Are there more questions?
One more question. First of all, thank you very much, Heather, for your information. Each activity are successful when we have enough well-prepared instructors in case of university. So from this point of view, how many people involved in teaching and preparing all these materials in your institute? And by the way, another side of this question, we know that you're mostly talking about North American case, where it's a high level of mobility of instruction between the different universities. Mm-hmm. So how do you expertise this problem in your case or no? So it's very interesting because we also tried many times to find good people. So we prepare some people, then they change their occupation, go to some another institutions, and you again need one step forward, and then sometimes you need to make 2 steps back in this question. So I feel sometimes this our talking from time to time like this process. Thank you.
Thank you. This is what Lara is about, really, because exactly some of those problems to get more people to teach, because we have been so North American, to get more people to teach. Lara is kind of, snipping the ties that you don't, let's just forget about what you this is of course my interpretation, but let's forget about what resources, what structures you have behind you right now, what you can and can't teach. Let's start to talk about what circumpolarity is, what's needed, and how we can build sort of a network and build capacity. From there is that we start to be able to actually do that so we have been very North American focused, but on our steering committee, we have been very careful not to be as well. We've been trying not to be as North American focused as Irene can tell you. We've been trying to be mindful of building the group that we work with to broaden out that real narrowness. Yeah, you're right, with the circumpolar delivery system. And it has been, it has been hard to come at it from the bottom up with the circumpolar network, but coming at it from the top down with LYRA, I think will probably be helpful. We really encourage anybody from countries other than North America to become involved and work with us. And at the circumpolar studies level too, we're encouraging that. And I think that's we can meet in sort of dialogue and conversation through the LYRA Institute to start filtering and getting courses and getting them in the right place and having discussions about how we can, bring that into the circumpolar delivery as well. So, and I do recognize that that issue, and that's really one of the foundations why UArctic wanted to support LYRA was, in fact, to broaden out the discussion of circumpolar studies and pedagogy and activities from simply what was possible to deliver in a North American sort of managed exchange of courses. I don't know if that answers the question, but I agree with you.
Thank you very much.
So thank you, Heather, for your information, and thank you, participants, for your questions. I think that now we can move on, and I hope that Gail is here. If you are ready, please, the floor is yours, and the presentation we will put it on the screen. Пожалуйста, можете запустить презентацию экрана организаторы?
Yeah, good morning, respected colleagues and students. Доброе утро, уважаемые коллеги, студенты и аспиранты. I'm just waiting for the PowerPoint here. I think I saw it come up a moment ago. I'm hoping it will be shown from the Yakutskin. There it is. Good. And can you put it just in a view screen so you don't see the notes on the side? Is it beautiful? Thank you. Okay. So thank you for the invitation to speak at the symposium. And I'm going to stick to the script which I sent to help the translators. It's rather early here in Western Canada, but I'm very happy to be part of the Northern Sustainable Development Forum. I enjoyed attending the first one in person, and last year was asked to present on the behalf of my university's president. Today, I enjoy the honor of being part of the forum for the third time. I also want to start by acknowledging that I'm speaking today from the traditional territory of the Lheidli T'enneh, the First Nation on whose territory I live and work. And these lands, which the Lheidli T'enneh have taken care of for millennia, continue to carry their stories. I honor their efforts for greater self-determination over their lands and their lives. Okay, thank you. My friend and colleague, Gary Wilson, who is along with Dr. Heather Nicole, who you just heard from, the co-director of the Lara Institute, recently published a paper on the development of a northern knowledge ecosystem in Canada. And in the article, he defines a knowledge ecosystem as a collection of individuals and organizations who are involved in the creation, management, and dissemination of knowledge. He notes that knowledge ecosystems, like other ecosystems, thrive on variation and diversity. Dr. Wilson's paper specifically addresses the inclusion of Indigenous knowledge and improved diversity that this brings to research, including to make sure that research is relevant to Northerners. And these are really important points. But I also want to focus on the importance of collaborations that are multinational and multidisciplinary and comparative across space. And in doing so, I want to encourage the students here and instructors as well to consider how they can become involved and contribute to such efforts and to encourage diversity this way. Next slide. So to do this, I'll be a little bit biographical in my comments. I began to study the Russian North in the 1980s for my PhD degree, and I began working in the Russian North with Russian colleagues in 1992. Next slide. One of the beautiful things about circumpolar studies, whether looking at Indigenous issues or environmental issues or literary issues or pedagogical issues like we are doing at Lara or whatever, is that we're looking across an area that has basic geographic similarities, if much regional diversity. We can learn much from a wider understanding of the North, of both its regional distinctiveness and its commonalities. And so my work in the Russian North has helped me to understand more about the Russian North in general, but also about the Canadian North. It's helped me ask different questions than I might have had I'd only worked in the North American North. I came to UNBC in 1994, in the University of Northern British Columbia, where I am now. And while I had been working in the Buryatsky and Zabaykalsky Norths, the fact that UNBC had an agreement with Saha State University, now Northeast Federal University, caused me to move my research north. So such agreements between universities can be very important for stimulating and facilitating the interactions between scholars from different countries. With a colleague from UNBC's political science department, we came to Yakutsk to talk about a joint research project on Indigenous land use and local self-government. And this was a time when the clan Obshinas were just starting to form. The project involved the head of the GIS lab at Saha State University, Olga Laziebnik, and the director of the Institute of the Problems of the Peoples of the North, Vasily Afanasovich Robek. This collaborative project, which was facilitated by the collaboration agreement between our universities in Canada and Russia, was career-changing for me. As well as working with Drs. Robek and Laziebnik, I was able to work with Evenki scholars such as Tamara Andreevna and Anna Mireeva, and to invite these colleagues to Canada to get a sense of what the situation was with Indigenous peoples in Northern Canada, where I live. The project led to many invitations to become involved in other international projects over the next decade for myself, and I think for all of us. Increasingly, research projects must have a training component. They must include the education of young scholars, usually graduate students. Collaborative projects across both countries and disciplines offer great opportunities for both the short-term knowledge gains and longer-term research relations. In the 1990s, in our project, we brought Canadian graduate students to Yakutia, and we included local graduate students from Yakutsk in our fieldwork here in Sakha. And one person, just as an example, who became involved with the project was a graduate student, Antonina Avakumova, who was working with Olga Laziebnik in the GIS lab. She accompanied us on our field expeditions in Sakha to Nelemnoye, Khatistir, and Tianya in 1997, 1998, and 1999. And she also came to UNBC for 2 semesters to study GIS. So while our research here in Yakutsk in the 1990s was career-changing for me, I think it was life-changing for her too. I will also just mention that Mikhail Prisajny also came to UNBC for a semester, one of the exchange students who we're most proud of. So over the next little while, or several decades, my relationship with Antonina Avakumova, now Savinova, grew from one between professor and graduate student to one between 2 colleagues. When after a decade of working on research closer to home for family reasons, I wanted to return to develop a new research project in the Russian North, I turned to Antonina, who is now teaching GIS at Northeastern Federal University. With a group of colleagues from Yakutsk, as well as Finland, Lithuania, Norway, we developed a multi-year research program with Canadian, Norwegian, and Russian financial support. Another circumpolar collaboration involved the development of social indicators for human development in the Arctic. Earlier collaboration also involved the Institute of Humanities Research and Indigenous Studies of the North. And this led my Icelandic colleague and me to recruit Victoria Filipova from the Institute of Humanities Research and Indigenous Studies to the Social Indicators Project to work on the chapter on Sakha Republic. So these are pictures of me in the field with Victoria and Antonina I think in Tianya. Victoria became another main colleague on the new research project. So as I said, with Antonina, Victoria, and other colleagues from Yakutsk, as well as Finland, Lithuania, and Norway, we developed this multi-year research program. Our diverse team represents several countries and several disciplines: geography, anthropology, legal studies, history, and political science. And this seemed to attract funders. They seem to really like these multidisciplinary, international collaborations. The collaboration, especially with Antonina Victoria, has been incredibly fruitful. We've been able to publish in both English and Russian. We've presented our work at conferences and workshops in Canada, Sweden, Switzerland, Norway, and other places. This photo on the right is from the Arctic Science Summit Week in 2018 in Davos, Switzerland. Our collaborative work in circumpolar studies has given us the opportunity to travel and to see other parts of the North and to share our work, meet new colleagues, and develop potential new collaborations. If being involved early on in international research projects has changed both my lives and Antonina's lives, the same can be said for several of my own Canadian graduate students who came to Yakutia to carry out their master's level research. Their experiences in Sakha have shaped their futures. 2 are now pursuing PhD studies. One is comparing the experience of Indigenous small-numbered people in Yakutsk with those in First Nations in Vancouver. Seisha here is a First Nations person who lives in Vancouver but is from the north of Canada. The other student, Nicholas, who's on his on the left, the guy kneeling on the left of the picture in the north, or in the left-hand corner there, he is looking at infrastructure development and governance issues in the Bering Sea. And so I'm hoping that students from Yakutsk might also look at comparative projects that bring you closer to Canada for a period of time and have studies on this side of the ocean. Saha Republic is a very attractive place for Western scholars interested in circumpolar North to work, along with talented, knowledgeable colleagues who are also welcoming and kind. Your universities and institutes encourage international collaboration and cooperation. The Republic is progressive in terms of its laws and its outlook on the environment and on Indigenous rights. And these are key concerns for circumpolar studies. And of course, Saha Republic has a wide diversity of ecosystems and cultures, which also makes it attractive for comparative studies. And indeed, my colleagues, Antonina and Victoria, with another colleague from Yakutsk, have an article under review, Yakutia as a driver and platform for science diplomacy in the Russian Arctic, challenges and opportunities. When it is published, hopefully in Polar Record, I encourage you all to read it and take their message seriously. So circumpolar studies offers great opportunities for collaboration. We learn more about our northern world and we help teach each other about the different norths that collectively make up the circumpolar north. Thanks for your attention and I welcome questions.
Thank you very much, Gail. So if the audience have any questions, please, прошу вас задавать вопросы, если у вас есть.
You can ask the questions. Gail Fondal is a renowned friend. She's been in Yakutia several times, had the research here, and we had many collaborative projects in Yakutia State University, later NEFL. She's a professor, has many supervised students. If there are more questions. Thank you very much. It's very interesting report on collaborations. I have a question. It is about the researches, because I am researchers myself of the indigenous people. Several times I was on the field work, the Evenki, and I have a question. If you have in Canada or other countries ethical norms that govern in norms that are connected with the researcher when he's on the field, how he should behave, and what frames, what limitations.
Yes, there are very strict ethical guidelines that we have to follow. The funding for our projects over the years have come from the Social Science and Humanities Research Council of Canada, and they have a whole set of guidelines that if you want to interview a person.
И иногда мы выгораем, и это реально может звучать печально. Иногда мы обсуждаем с друзьями и коллегами. Мы также находим силы и вдохновение в таких разговорах и диалогах, как решить такие вопросы. Я администрирую программу по фольклору. Я веду курс по коренной мифологии. И мы обучаем взрослых людей по культуре. Мы обучаем взрослых людей, у которых уже есть своя карьера, чтобы обучать культуре других народов. Иногда мы то, что мы запланировали, не всегда можем исполнить из-за таких барьеров. Но я хочу сказать, что университет Арктики, Северу и циркумполярные исследования, они изменили и трансформировали целое поколение молодежи Якутии. У нас, конечно, нет технологий, чтобы оценить позитивное влияние данных. Но как исследователь я очень хотел бы в дальнейшем это изучить карьеры людей из Якутии, которые были вовлечены в подобные исследования и обучались, и изучить, как участие в международном диалоге влияло на них. И те, кто участвовали в таких программах, как BCS и Север-Северу. И оно очень благотворно повлияло на наши карьеры, Это был социальный подъем и возможность, которая принесла много возможностей. Но это, конечно, немного усложнило жизнь, потому что мы занимаемся очень многими аспектами сейчас. И иногда это накладывает много ответственности. Важнейшая вещь, которую я хотел сказать в заключении, что университет Арктики позитивно сделал для молодежи, это то, что оно он дал нам понимание разных систем и как понимать разные культуры, разные измерения. И сейчас мы способны работать в различных действительностях, в различных социальных средах. Я живу таким образом в двух квартирах мира. И это тот навык, который очень ценен данным. И такие навыки и компетенции, которые мы получили благодаря университету Арктики, очень важно. И университет Арктики, конечно, открыл много дверей для нас, молодых исследователей. И несмотря на то, что некоторые закрыты, мы верим, что это очень хорошее явление. И это повлияло очень хорошим образом на нашей жизни. Конечно, чуть усложнило жизнь, потому что у нас новые вызовы. Мы знаем о таких вещах, которых многие не знают. Это лишь пример, который я хотел привести по примеру циркумполярных исследований. И вот почему университет Арктики очень важен, и циркумполярные исследования, они не только обучают, они также влияют на жизни, формируют карьеры и формируют потенциал для больших трансформаций, которые произойдут, и большие изменения. Мы не знаем, когда это произойдет, но результатом будет смена парадигмы. И мы сможем, наконец, соединить наши разные научные традиции в лице будущих поколений, где могут молодые ученые работать в различных научных картинах мира. Я хотел рассказать много про Север-Северу. Мой студент Сарглана здесь. Я рада, я рада, что мой студент посетил учебное заведение в Финляндии благодаря университету Арктики, как и все мы, и многие из наших друзей и коллег. Я надеюсь, что я передаю эстафету Сарглане. И спасибо за приглашение на данный семинар. Спасибо.
Hello, my name is Sarglana Moskvitina, and
Добрый вечер. Меня зовут Сарглана Москвитина. Я недавно начала заниматься в этой области. Сарглана, микрофон.
Сарглана, вы выключили свой звук. Ага, включите, пожалуйста.
oh, sorry. Recently, I studied in
Недавно я обучалась в Финляндии. Это было в этом году, в весеннем семестре. Я училась в Финляндии в маленьком городке Копио, в университете прикладных наук по эффективным технологиям. И все, что я поехала в этот город одна из Хельсинки. И в первый день моего прибытия в Финляндии у меня случилось приключение. Мой телефон отключился, было очень темно и холодно на улице, и магазины все тоже были закрыты. И в конце концов ко мне подошел незнакомец и провел меня до моего хостела и помог мне найти дорогу. Финны, они очень гостеприимные, очень позитивные люди, и они очень открыты помогать людям, даже в такой вот отчаянной ситуации, как у меня. А также все мои преподаватели, все мои одногруппники, они очень сильно мне помогали в моей учебе и поддерживали меня во всем. И я очень им благодарна. Мне очень понравилась эта страна, ее прекрасная природа и природа, которая окружала мой городок, где я жила, там тоже было прекрасно. И я отметила, что в Финляндии очень современные такие системы для улучшения комфорта жизни. Конечно же, в самом начале у меня были сложности с адаптацией ко всему этому. Я должна была в первую очередь выбрать для себя дисциплины, которые буду изучать. Для меня это было очень сложно, но постепенно мне стало как-то проще справляться с такими образовательными моментами. Все эти 5 месяцев, которые я там провела, они были очень интересные, они были очень плодотворные. Я обучилась многому, я встретила много интересных людей, и в рамках своего исследования я также посетила определенные места, я посещала музеи также для того, чтобы познакомиться поближе с культурой. И сейчас у меня такое достаточно развитое уже развитый взгляд на мир. Я также немножко улучшила свой английский. И я очень рада, что мне выдалась такая возможность исполнить свои планы, добиться целей. И я надеюсь, что в дальнейшем у меня также будет возможность обучаться за границей. Спасибо большое, Сарглана. У нас есть комментарий от Гейл. Вопрос. Скорее, это небольшой комментарий для Дарьи. Я очень рада, что у Саргалана был такой богатый опыт. И очень важно, что вы действительно обсуждаете такие вопросы по адаптации именно коренных студентов в зарубежных странах, насколько цифровизация происходит, да, в таких развитых странах, и насколько было бы проще внести все эти технологии в развивающихся странах. И мы, конечно, пока что не на таком высоком уровне по цифровизации образования, но, надеюсь, мы пойдем дальше, чтобы сделать наше образование более доступным для всех тех, кто живет на севере. И я бы хотела спросить Дарию, как вы думаете, наиболее такие критичные основные шаги для того, чтобы сделать академическую среду и университеты, вузы более открытыми, доброжелательными, так сказать, или более подходящими для студентов из коренных народностей, чтобы они могли наслаждаться тем, что они являются представителями этих сообществ. Это достаточно сложный вопрос, но я считаю, что я не хочу звучать слишком радикально, но я думаю, автономность. Если нам предоставят свободу и автономность, мне кажется, мы сможем трансформировать всю систему, мы сможем внести изменения. Если бы у нас только была свобода, больше свободного времени даже, поскольку мы все очень загружены, поскольку вся эта академическая система, в которой мы должны не только преподавать, но и несем определенные, выполняем административные функции, нужно сделать это и то. Иногда это очень сильно нас нагружает. И на основе опыта моих коллег, которые находятся в разных странах, в разных организациях, у них опыт иной, у них есть больше времени, чтобы подумать об их исследованиях, об их методах преподавания. А в России, к сожалению, у нас нет такой возможности. Поэтому, мне кажется, нам нужно больше свободы, больше автономии от бюрократии, от этих затрат, очень затратных бумажек, которые связывают нам руки. Нам нужно больше возможностей быть более такими коренными, если можно так сказать. Мне кажется, мы можем это сделать. У нас уже есть опыт, у нас есть знания, у нас есть свой язык, у нас есть даже преподаватели, которые могут нас учить, но, к сожалению, у нас нет достаточно власти, достаточно автономии, и, возможно, возможно, к сожалению, все заключается в том, что все заключено во власти. Проблема именно вот в том, что у нас, к сожалению, нету такой возможности, у нас нету власти. Это просто мое наблюдение личное. Спасибо большое. Я думаю, действительно, власть, она лежит в основе всего этого.
Thank you very much. And I think that we need make some kind of sum up and conclusion
И мне
because
кажется, мы должны уже подойти к каким-то определенным заключениям. У нас осталось минут 5.
всех участников за то, что вы приняли участие в нашей сессии, в данном симпозиуме. Изначально у нас была идея сделать...
Sorry, Irina, sorry. I just want to make, yeah, I just want to...
Простите, Ирина, у меня есть небольшое пояснение по поводу того, что я сказала. Я имела в виду свободу